From 3D printer to full-on vigilante. Here's how I built my own Red Hood mask and how you can too. Before we jump into building the mask, let's talk real quick about who Red Hood actually is. In the Batman universe, Red Hood is the vigilante identity of Jason Todd, the second Robin, after he was killed by the Joker and later resurrected. Over the years, Red Hood has taken on a lot of different looks across the comics, from full-on armored versions to sleeker, tactical designs. One of his most popular versions is the Rebirth costume, where he rocks a leather jacket, body armor, and the iconic red helmet, blending the street-level toughness of Gotham with a high-tech edge. And that's the mask I decided to print using my new printer, the Sovol SV06 Plus Ace. For those of you who've watched my video on my initial experience with the printer, you can understand why I'm very excited how this mask turned out. So first up, I found this awesome Red Hood mask file on thingiverse.com, which I'll include in the description below if you'd like to find it too. Then the next important step, loading the file into Orca Slicer to make sure it would fit my head. If you're not sure how to resize masks for your head size, don't worry. I made a whole video explaining it, and I'll link that for you too. After a lot of double checking and resizing, I sliced the file, loaded the G-code onto an SD card, and got it ready for my new printer. With the G-code loaded up and the printer ready with the new high-speed cherry red matte filament I purchased from Sunlu, I started the print. This project was a big one, lots of filament, lots of hours, and lots of quiet praying that nothing goes wrong. But honestly, this print was smooth. No spaghetti monsters, no clogs, no heartbreak. My first 3D mask print on my new Sovol printer was a success. Since my Sovol printer only prints in one color, I needed to add the black detailing to match Red Hood's Rebirth look. Using an acrylic black paint pen I found on Amazon, I carefully painted all the lines on the mask and filled in the areas around the eyes to really bring the mask to life. It was my first time using acrylic paint on a 3D print since I usually print multicolor on my bambulab printers, but honestly, it worked out way better than I expected. I did have to touch up a few spots here and there, and I made a couple of tiny smudges, but nothing that I couldn't clean up later. In the end, the black detailing made a huge difference. It gave the mask that sharp, finished Red Hood vibe I was going for. Once the paint was dry, it was time to finish it off with one last important detail: the white mesh for the eyes. Not only was this my first time painting a 3D printed mask, but this was also my first time cutting and fitting eye mesh for a mask that I didn't print from the STL file. Using paper, I simply traced the outline of the eye openings and used that to cut onto the mesh. Pro tip, leave a little extra room around the edges for glue, and maybe find a way that doesn't turn your fingers into a super glue disaster. But despite the mess, the eye mesh stuck, and the mask finally felt complete. And that's it. The Red Hood mask is finished. From sizing to printing and painting and surviving a super glue disaster, this was definitely one of my favorite builds so far. If you want to grab the same mask file or check out the settings that made this easier, I'll have all the links down in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see what chaos I take on next. And with that, I'm Eric Sauer with Sweet and Sour 3D. I'll catch you in the next one.